That means any member of the public can log on and watch this. All right, who do we have first? Oh, before I begin, have all members of the Public Defender's Office been able to interview their clients? I see that there's an interpreter on the line. Will we need an interpretation or breakout for you to conduct that interview? Ms. Kim, you need to break out? All right. Are we able to facilitate that at courtroom too for Ms. Kim to speak to her client?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So Ms. Champion, at the appropriate time, if you put the interpreter, Ms. Kim, and is the defendant at a different courtroom?
Yeah, we're gonna send them over there.
Okay. All right, and those who receive a surety bond or a cash bond will be reset to state all purpose on April the 13th. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset further notice. Hopefully we can go ahead and start with the calendar while the interpretation breakout takes place.
Judge, excuse me, Judge, who's going in the breakout? I know you said Miss Kim, the interpreter, in what courtroom?
I don't think he's been moved yet.
It's gonna be courtroom 3 for position 4.
Okay, thank you.
Getting ready to log on.
Fine. Thank you. All right, who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge Williams. This is gonna be position number 1, Mr. Barker.
All right, Mr. Barker, your case is 23 CR 001948 Y. In this case, you're charged with forgery in the 4th degree with the offense date of February the 23rd. Do you understand your rights today?
No.
All right. Mr. Howard, I know this is second arrest. Will you please put the first arrest onto the history?
2022 suspended license. Open.
Okay, thank you. All right, whose case is this for the state? Is it yours, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll be handling all the cases today.
Oh, lucky you. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on February 23rd, 2023 at approximately 1:57 p.m. Officers responded to South State Bank at 11760 Haynesbridge Road. The defendant had entered the bank and was attempting to cash a check in the name of Jim Vo, common spelling, Vo, V-O. The bank refused to cash the check for him and actually reached out to Mr. Vo and spoke with him. And Mr. Vo did indicate that the check was fraudulent. The defendant was trying to the defendant actually explained to the bank that he was told by another black male that he would make $700 for cashing a check for him. The amount of the check that he was attempting to cash was under $1,500. The exact amount was $902.25. The state's recommendation on this case, given the defendant has no history, is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from 11760C Haynesbridge Road, Alpharetta. That is the address of the South State Bank, excuse me, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further contact with Jim Vo. We have no proof that he's had any contact with him, but we're just asking out of an abundance of caution. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Is this your case, Ms. Wills?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection to the signature bond, which I'm inclined to grant?
No, Your Honor.
All right. At this time, Mr. Barker will receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to absolutely not return to that South State Bank. And additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Just the no further contact, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, and no further contact with Mr. Vo. As Mr. Vo happens to be on the Zoom conference, just want to make sure. All right, I don't see him. All right, that will conclude your case, Mr. Barker. Take care. Have a great afternoon. All right, who do we have next?
Position 5, Ramesses.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Ramesses. Or yes, your case is 23 CR 001951 Y. You're charged with battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence, with the offense date of January the 18th. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
16 total. 2022 DUI. I didn't recall seeing any violent history.
Okay. All right, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at 1276 Hill Street Southeast on January 18th, 2023. The officers responded to a fight in progress call, and they met with Miss Lisa Wilson, who stated that she and her boyfriend had had an argument about her sleeping. She stated that the defendant followed her into the bathroom, poured a bottle of wine on her. He then became physical with her, kneeing her in the ribs, which caused her to become short of breath, and then began tossing her around, which caused her to receive a laceration to the left side of her head and scratches along her left hand. Miss Wilson did state that he had been violent with her in the past, but this is the first time she reported it. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Wilson. She stated that she and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location, and they do share 2 children. And she did, in fact, confirm the events that we described to her in the warrant, but did contradict and state this had never happened before, which was a contradiction from what she told the police when they were on the scene, when she stated that he had been violent with her in the past. Although she does want contact with him, we have some concerns based on both the incident that happened on this date, as well as her contention to the police at the time that this is not the first time this has happened. He does have a 2022 DUI that we saw, and as well as a probation violation in 2017. We are asking for a $3,500 surety bond. That would be $3,000 on the battery family violence, $500 on the simple battery family violence. We are requesting a stay away order from that address at 1276 Hill Street, Southeast Atlanta. No further contact with the victim, Miss Lisa Wilson, common spelling for both the first and the last name, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also asking for 1-day anger awareness. Thank you, Your Honor.
I see Ms. Wilson is on the screen. Ms. Wilson, you're not required to make a statement. However, if you wish to do so, this is your opportunity. Would you like to make a statement? If so, please turn your camera on and raise your right hand.
Yes,
All right, do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell me?
I would like to see him get a signature bond and a non-violent contact bond. We deal with each other very peacefully, all of the time ever since then. And I feel I'm in no danger and I'm no fear.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you making that statement, Ms. Wilson.
Thank
Ms.
you.
McLeod, is this your client? Please proceed.
It is, Your Honor. My client is 41 years old, Your Honor. He tells me that he is gainfully employed as a stuntman. He does have a degree, a college degree in film. He also shares 2 minor children with Miss Wilson. I had the opportunity to speak with Miss Wilson, and she told me that they have been living together ever since this alleged incident on January 18th, Your Honor, which is quite some time ago. We are almost at the end of March. Tomorrow will be the 1st of April. And they have been living together continuously. Also, my client denies that this is what happened. He said that there was a bottle of wine and he was trying to pour the wine away because he didn't want either of them to be drinking. And he denies that he poured wine on Miss Wilson. He said the wine spilled on both of them. And he also denies that he attacked Miss Wilson in the manner which the prosecution has described. Your Honor, my client has no violent history. Pretrial stated that. He has absolutely no violent history. And also, the warrant did not say that Ms. Wilson stated that he had been violent with her in the past. And she also denies that that is the case, or that she told the police that. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. We don't have an issue here about cooling down or anything, because this incident is supposed to have happened on the 18th of January of this year. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. McLeod.
And Your Honor, excuse me, Your Honor, if I may very briefly.
You know my response very briefly, Ms. Falk, please.
Although the order does not state that, the police report does.
All right. At this time, defendant is going to receive a $2,500 surety bond. It'll be 1,500 on count one, 1,000 on count two for the total of the 2,500 surety. He's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim. And additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, can we be put in the breakout room?
Oh, yes, please, Ms. Grace, if you would please put the interpreter, Ms. Kim, and is it courtroom 3?
No, Judge, I just did it. I called and they told me it's the iPhone. I just placed them in the breakout.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. I appreciate that.
And
Ms.
Your
McLeod?
Honor, that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Thank you, Your Honor. Same to you.
All right.
Sorry, Judge, what was the breakdown for the,
It's
the amount?
1,500, count one, and 1,000, count two.
Thank you. And we also have a plea for position 6, Mr. Yunez.
Can we do the plea last, if possible? Is
Well,
there,
the other cases, that's it, because the other.
all the
cases-
others are interpretations?
all the others are for Ms. Kim.
Okay, all right.
I actually have Mr. Bates, but I filed a waiver for his appearance.
So we'll do that one at the extreme last then, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Younes, your case is 23 CR 001952F. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of March the 30th of 2023. Do you understand your rights today?
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Champion, I need to clarify one thing. We do not have a court reporter. Will the recording serve as a sufficient documentation of the plea today?
Yes, ma'am, as long as it's not an extra time plea.
All right, and it won't be, Ms. Falk?
It will not, Your Honor. The state is asking for 12 months probation, 1 day credit for time served, balance suspended, and a stay away.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that point. And Mr. Younes, before we proceed, you are sure that you wish to go forward with taking a plea today versus seeing if you're eligible for a signature bond and having the services of the public defender's office? You wish to take the plea?
I wish to take the plea, yes.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions as we get into the facts to make sure. I just want to make sure you're completely aware that you do have a right to an attorney today, and you might be able to seek representation such that the charge might be, you might receive a different sentence at a later date, and you're 100% sure you wish to go forward?
Yeah.
All right, let's go forward with that. Ms. Falk, if you please put the factual basis onto the record as well as the state's offer as well, and I'll also need that stay away address.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened March 30th, 2023 at 8 a.m. And the state would expect to prove that officers responded to 870 Village Parkway Northeast. They met with Mr. William Wells, who stated the defendant was sleeping on a couch inside the foyer of the building after gaining unauthorized access. The officer did make contact with him, informed him that he was not allowed to be on the property, and the property manager told police that they did want to press charges. The defendant was then arrested for criminal trespass. According to the police report, that this was the 4th time the defendant had entered the property at 870 Inman Village Parkway Northeast. And they had been previously letting him off with warrants. Excuse me, warnings.
Warning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What kind of business is this, Ms. Falk?
This is Inman Park Condominiums is the name of the building.
So he's going into like the lobby and sitting down?
That
That's
is correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Question really quickly. I don't see a David Gurin on this calendar, Mr. Arrington. I don't believe he's going to be brought today. Let's clarify that point. Is there a David Gurin at courtroom 2?
I
Yes.
will,
It's an
yes,
add-on.
I will clarify it was an add-on. My understanding it was going to be a plea. However, that is not happening. So the state is not going to proceed on that case.
The state's
Okay.
gonna be no processing that case?
No, the state will not proceed since it's not a plea, but the case is still open. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard you the state will proceed. I went a different direction. Is it possible for me to be put into a breakout room? I know it was a last minute add on to the calendar.
Can you call courtroom 2? Because if he's sitting there, it's, we don't have the capability to take him away into a breakout. Is there a number Mr. Arrington can call?
Yes, that's fine, but he was interviewed by Ms. Kim.
Apparently he has private counsel now.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be 404-612-2392.
And the state just wants to put on the record, the plea he rejected was a time served plea.
Okay. All right, so back to Mr. Yoons. Okay, so he was sleeping on the couch.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he, the time he served in Fulton County Jail plus 12 months probation will complete. Is it balance suspended?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay.
And there's a stay away from that address. And
Okay.
the state recognizes that this defendant has some previous history with criminal trespasses, but it all seems to stem from an issue with him being unhoused.
All right. So, Mr. Yoons, you've heard the state's recommendation. Essentially, the time you serve will close your case. However, you absolutely cannot go back to that address. You understand that? And you still wish to go forward with the plea?
Yes.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol at this time?
No.
Did anyone promise you anything in exchange for taking a plea?
No.
Did anyone force you to take a plea?
Oh, what's it called? No, I just took the plea because I was with my lawyer and I decided.
I'm sorry, you just took a plea because what?
I was with my lawyer on the phone and I decided to.
All right, but no one forced you to do that, right?
No, unfortunately.
And no one gave you any gifts in exchange or anything like that? Okay. And we talked about the fact that you can't go back to that location. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
And you understand that if you have other cases open, I don't know what your criminal history is, but taking a plea to this today might affect employment or have other effects on those cases. You understand that? I'm sorry, I can't hear over that, Mr. Arrington. Speak as loudly as you can.
I understand.
Difficult. All right, Mr. Yoons, can you answer that last question? You understand it may affect employment or any other open cases?
Yeah, I understand. So yes, I understand, yeah.
All right, that's perfect. Thank you. All right, and you further understand that if you have any immigration issues, I'm not saying that you do, but if you did, that this might also affect that as well?
No.
You don't understand that?
Oh, I understand. What are you saying?
Oh, I'm saying if you have any other issues, let's say you have an open case, a probation issue or immigration or anything of that nature, taking a plea could affect that. You understand that?
I understand. No, I'm not a part of that.
Okay. As to the charge of criminal trespass, Mr. Yoons, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, I accept your guilty plea at this time. Ms. Falk, are we going to be able to send that plea paperwork over to the jail?
Your Honor, he's already signed it and I sent it to Ms. Champion and to Ms. Bridgewater.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll sign that. That should conclude your case, Mr. Yoons. If you don't have other holds, you should be released from Fulton County Jail shortly. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Best of luck. We don't want to see you back. Please do not go back to that address.
Oh, no, you got it.
Don't even walk down that street. Go the other direction, okay? Take care. All right, who do we have next? Are we able to do anything else?
That's it, Judge. The other two cases are, one of them is on the phone and then the other one is Ms. Kim and the interpreter.
All right, let's do the waived appearance case, the case of Robert Bates, 23 CR 001923E. Defendant is charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of March the 29th. Mr. Howard, can I have his history?
60 total. 2023 trespass. 2023 giving false names. 2022 trespass, PI, another trespass. 2022, 2021 probation. 2020 theft by taking conviction. 2020 trespass conviction. He got disorderly conduct conviction as well. Ag assault conviction from 2018. I think that probation ends in July. And a 2019 simple battery trespass conviction.
Okay, I think that's sufficient. Thank you, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at MARTA, located at 225 Peachtree Street Southwest. He was trying to entered the Garnett MARTA station after receiving a permanent ban from MARTA property. The defendant does have an extensive history of criminal trespass, including his most recent cases were 23 CR 000428E, which happened in January of 2023, so about 2 months ago. Criminal trespass PI case that happened March of 2022, 22 CR 001245E. And those are his two most recent offenses. But as pretrial has stated, he also has some aggravated assault convictions and other convictions, as well as interactions before with MARTA, including a 19 CR 007700H, simple battery in a public transit, criminal trespass, and simple assault. This bond currently is set at $1,000. The state is agreeable to reducing that to a $500 surety bond. We are also requesting a stay away from MARTA, since he does have a permanent ban from all MARTA stations, and alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, Ms. Wills?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bates is 56 years old, and he is residentially challenged, which is a main contributing factor to his repeated criminal trespass charges. We would request a $500 signature on bond. Any bond, he would be unable to afford any bond at this time.
All right.
Oh,
Yes, Ms.
sorry,
Faulkner.
Your Honor. If I may inquire, has a social worker been out to see Mr. Bates?
I'm not sure if they have had the opportunity to see him, but I have relayed that he needs to see someone.
Okay, so the state would just add on to that a BHET, Your Honor.
Very quickly, can I be put in a breakout with Ms. Falk and Ms. Wills, please, Ms. Grace?
Okay.
Thank you. Very quickly. It won't take us long.
Madam Clerk, if you can put me in as well. Thanks.
All right, at this time, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to absolutely stay away from all MARTA in its entirety. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing from the state, other than I would just ask that he have meet with the social worker prior to his release, since he does seem to have some issues with housing.
We can write down BHET as well. That usually implies that the social worker needs to go out. All right. Well, best of luck to Mr. Baker. All right. Are we able to take another position at courtroom 2 at this time?
No, Judge, the interpreter case is still in the breakout, and then plus the private attorney case is still talking to his client.
Okay, we were hopeful. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there more than one position on the add-on? Let's see.
No, Your Honor, there's not, just that position.
The one, all right. I thought I was gonna get lucky and only have 6 cases today.
You've been on a streak, Your Honor.
I was really doing good for a while. And 7 is still pretty well, still pretty good. All right. All right, well, I will be on a very brief recess until we're able to take a position.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, are we ready to proceed with the interpretation position 4?
You're muted, madam.
Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
All right, I don't see courtroom or the iPhone on the screen. Ms. Chancey, in the meantime, will you please raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear and affirm that today you will make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, to the best of your skills, knowledge, and ability?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. And will you also please state your full name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. It's Adriana, Adriana. Last name Chancey, Chancey.
Thank you, Ms. Chancey.
You're welcome.
All right. Is Mr. Perez being brought back over to courtroom 2?
I'm not sure what happened, but we can take position 3, Mr. Moody. That is Ms. Kim's case. Come on, Mr. Moody.
All right, Mr. Moody, your case is 23 CR 00-19508. You're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of December the 7th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history?
18 total. On probation in the cab, ag assault, terroristic threats. Got a 2017 battery DV, false imprisonment conviction. 2009 ag assault, burglary, false imprisonment, criminal trespass, cruelty in the 1st and 3rd degree conviction, and a 08 burglary obstruction conviction.
All right, thank you. That's sufficient. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened, as you stated, on December 7th, 2022 at 1991 Delow Drive Southwest, the Brickwood Apartments. Officers spoke with Miss Lucretia Williams, that is Lucretia, Williams common spelling, who stated that the defendant drove her to the store to get food for their 2 children. She stated that she was drinking a beverage and she accidentally dropped it, which caused the defendant to become upset. He then picked up the remaining drink, poured it on Mrs. Williams, which caused an argument, at which point the defendant slapped her in the face. Officers observed while speaking to her that her clothing was soaked, but they didn't see any bruises or swellings from the slap, which is why they charged this as simple battery. At the time, the couple's 1-year-old daughter was in the backseat of the car while all of this was going on. As you've already heard, this defendant has 2 prior family violence battery convictions, several violent offenses, including aggravated assault, cruelty to child, false imprisonment. He's got burglary convictions. He's got multiple prior probation violations in 2006, 2007. And he had, again, that family violence battery and false imprisonment 2021 and a 2005 battery cruelty to children. So there is a real history here of violence, particularly in family or intimate partner relationships, For that reason, the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact, stay away from the address at 1991 Delow Drive Southwest, 1-day anger awareness. We are also asking for no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and then we would ask that the court sound for Miss Lucretia Williams. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I will sign for Miss Williams at this time. If Miss Williams is present on the Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement. All right, hearing and seeing none. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Moody is 42 years old and he was born and raised here in Georgia. Ever since that incident on December 7, 2022, which is kind of remote, they have been separated. He moved out. He did not want to have any contact. They have not had any contact whatsoever. So he has no objection to stay away and no further contact at all. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond because he has been very good. For the last 2 years, he's gainfully employed at EMA company as a machine operator. He has been very productive and becoming a good father. He's been sending out more than $600 per month directly to her children because his children, because he cares for them. They're 6 years old and 1.5 years old. He is financially responsible for them. And his education is up to 10th grade, and he also successfully completed GED while he was in prison before. Because he is the complaining witness knows his history, there's a lot of lies and false accusations that was kind of caused by angry, bitter person who did not want to break up with my client. So my client is innocent of this crime and he didn't commit it, and he is asking for signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of his past histories, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond, and his mother, Carolyn Moody, is also here as well to support him.
All right, thank you. Anyone have anything further to add? Just checking, Ms. Falk. Okay. All right, at this time, defendant is going to receive a $1,500 surety bond. He's to have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Williams and stay away from the incident location. He can arrange transport of their children if necessary by coordinating that effort with a third party. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing from the state. Thank you.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Moody. All right. All right. Who do we have next?
We do have Mr. Perez back in the courtroom. Come on, Mr.
All right.
Position 4.
All right, Ms. Chansey and Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez, your case is 23 CR 001949C.
Señor Pérez, el número de su caso es 23CR 001949C.
In this case, you're charged with battery family violence.
Y usted tiene un cargo, en este caso, de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
With the offense date of March the 30th of 2023.
Con el incidente ocurrido en la fecha del 30 de marzo del 2023.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga puede y va a ser usado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Kim is available to represent you today.
Usted tiene el derecho a ser representado por un abogado y la señorita Kim está representándolo hoy aquí.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream.
Audiencia se está publicando en la internet en vivo.
It's also being recorded. That means anyone can watch this.
Y también está siendo grabado, lo que implica que cualquier persona puede mirar este video.
Do you understand your rights and how I'm conducting this hearing today?
¿Usted entiende sus derechos constitucionales y la manera en que estoy conduciendo esta audiencia hoy?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
Señor Howard, ¿puedo escuchar los antecedentes, por favor?
I got first arrest.
Yo lo que estoy mostrando que este es el primer arresto.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Gracias. Señora
Yes,
Falk.
Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday, March 30th, 2023 at 3:24 a.m.
Este incidente ocurrió ayer, el 30 de marzo del 2023, a las 3:24 de la mañana.
Officers spoke with SV Perez, that is ESVIE, Perez common spelling.
El oficial habló con la persona llamada S.V. Pérez.
Mr. Perez stated he was having a drink with his brother when his brother struck him in the face.
El señor Pérez declaró que él estaba tomando un trago con su hermano cuando el hermano lo golpeó en la cara.
Mr. Perez had swelling around his eye and visible redness and swelling to the left side of his mouth.
El señor Pérez tenía inflamación y enrojecimiento alrededor del ojo y, inflamación alrededor del ojo y enrojecimiento alrededor del lado de la boca.
The defendant also scratched his brother on the right side of his neck, leaving a large scratch along the back of his neck.
También el acusado lo rasguñó al señor Pérez, dejando un rasguño, una marca en la parte de atrás de su cuello.
When they did speak with the defendant stated that he was not struck at any point by his brother, Mr. S.V. Perez.
Cuando hablaron con este acusado acerca del incidente, él declaró que en ningún momento él fue golpeado por su hermano, el señor S.V. Pérez.
And due to the victim's statement that he was struck multiple times by the defendant, and the defendant's statement that his brother did not strike him, it appears that the defendant was the predominant aggressor.
Y debido a que la víctima, después de haber recibido muchos golpes, el acusado estableció que él no había recibido ningún golpe de su hermano, lo que define a este acusado como la persona violenta que atacó.
Given the fact that this is the defendant's first arrest and this is his sibling, the state is inclined to recommend a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Debido a los hechos presentados y que este es el primer arresto del acusado y que el ataque fue hacia su hermano, la fiscalía pide $4,000 de fianza bajo firma a través de la oficina de asuntos previos al juicio.
No further contact with S.V. Perez.
No tener más contacto con el señor S.V. Pérez.
Stay away from 2824 Ashley Lane.
Y que se mantenga alejado de la dirección 2824 Ashley Lane.
One day anger awareness.
Que tome una clase de concientización del manejo de la ira.
And no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
We did reach out to Mr. Perez and leave a voicemail for him, but he has not returned our call, but we would like the court to sound for him.
We would like to what? I'm sorry.
We would like the court to sound for him.
Okay. Nosotros le hicimos una llamada al señor Pérez, le dejamos un mensaje grabado, pero él no ha regresado nuestra llamada y quisiéramos pedirle a la jueza que por favor lo llame para ver si está presente en la plataforma.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nada más de parte de la fiscalía.
All right, I'm sounding now for Mr. Perez. If he is present, Ms. Chancey, will you do that for me?
Yes, ma'am. Estoy llamando al señor Pérez, S.V. Pérez, por favor, si está presente en esta plataforma. Señor Pérez.
All right. Seeing and hearing none, Ms. Kim?
No,
No escucho a
actually, we
nadie.
have no
Señorita Kim, por favor.
I apologize.
No problem.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Nosotros no tenemos ninguna objeción, su señoría.
Ms. Kim, the stay away won't be an issue as well?
No,
¿No va a haber problema con la condición de que se mantenga alejado de la dirección, señora Kim?
no,
No.
All right, we will accept the state's recommendation with which the defense concurs.
Entonces, muy bien, vamos a aceptar el convenio declaratorio ofrecido por la Fiscalía y que se cumpla de manera concurrente.
Defendant will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services.
El acusado recibe una fianza no monetaria bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
He's to have no contact with his brother, the alleged victim.
No debe tener más contacto con su hermano, que es la víctima alegada.
He is to stay away from the address on Ashley Lane.
Debe permanecerse alejado de la dirección sobre la calle Ashley Lane.
He is to take the one-day anger awareness course.
Debe tomar una clase de un día sobre el manejo de la ira.
And he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Y no queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas. Excuse me, Your Honor, did you say one-day class of... okay, thank you.
All right, that will be per judge.
Eso es lo que ordena este tribunal.
Anything further from either party?
¿Algo más de alguna de las partes?
Let him know about orientation.
Avísele sobre la orientación. Go ahead, sir. You can tell him.
He got to report the pretrial for orientation.
Usted debe presentarse a la orientación que le dé la oficina de asuntos previos al juicio. ¿Entiende, señor?
Sí.
Señor Pérez, ¿me escucha?
Sí, lo escucho.
Okay. Yes, he does and understand that.
All right, I believe that concludes his case. Best
Creo
of
que
luck to you, Mr. Perez.
Esto concluye su caso. Mucha suerte, señor Pérez.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, what was the bond amount?
4,000 SOB through pretrial.
Thank you. Okay, you're done, Mr. Perez.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Perez.
La mejor suerte, señor Pérez.
All right,
Thank
Ms. Chancey, I believe that with that concludes your business today. Would you like to be excused?
I would love to. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a
Take
great day.
care. Have a
Bye-bye.
great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, the only position we have left is going to be add-on 1, the case of Mr. David Gervin, 23 CR 001947B, in which he's charged with disorderly conduct with the offense date of June the 28th of 2022. Mr. Gervin, do you understand your rights today?
Wow.
All right, Ms. Howard, can you put his history onto the record, please?
I don't have the add-on.
Okay, Ms. Falk, if you have it, we'll defer to you.
And Your Honor, he has already had a first appearance and been given a bond on this case. My understanding was this was solely for the offer of a plea that Mr. Gervin has now rejected.
So Judge,
Mr. Harrington, is that correct?
Judge, I'm gonna step in, just kind of give a little bit of history of this case, our involvement. Mr. Gervin reached out to my office. I'm an attorney with Georgia Justice Project. We did our initial intake with him earlier this week and realized that this was a case that originated in Superior Court, but probable cause, so it was sent back, or was supposed to be transferred back down to state court for a disorderly conduct charge. That preliminary hearing happened in November. Don't like using this phrase, but apparently it fell through the cracks and the state court number was never generated. When we noticed that, I think that's what started this kind of process, and he quickly was able to get onto a calendar for today. My understanding at about 1:30 this afternoon was that it was for a first appearance. Ms. Kim was able to send me the details of the plea offer as well as a copy of the arrest warrant for this case. So that's correct. He had a first appearance for the original felony, but he never had a first appearance for a disorderly conduct charge.
That's actually incorrect because his case was reduced to a disorderly conduct by Superior Court, for which we have the bond ordered for and transferred. So
What is
Mr.
the
Arias
current-
has contention.
Wait a second, what's the
I'm sorry,
current
I didn't-
bond? 1 second, what's the current bond? What's the current bond?
The court and Superior Court gave a bond of $50,000 given by Judge Drake.
Okay,
And excuse me, Judge, I wasn't trying to mislead the court. That's correct. The bond was set at that preliminary hearing.
for the felony, when it was a felony, it was set at 50,000, it's been
No, the
downgraded.
judge set it on the disorderly as 50.
Oh, okay, so it has been
Yes,
previously
Your
set.
Honor.
Okay, and defendant does not wish to take a plea today.
So Judge, yeah, that leads us to today, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Gervin. This has been a quickly moving process for him. I think he is a little bit shocked and confused as to why he's been in jail for 9 months with the remaining
So-
charge of a disorderly conduct. So under these circumstances, I understand it's difficult to accept a plea. So
Okay.
we're not.
So wait, let me ask this, Ms. Champion, what's the earliest state all purpose we could put him on? I know we're normally resetting to the, to that April date. Is it possible to get him on an earlier state all purpose calendar?
Yes, we can schedule him for Thursday the 6th.
Okay,
Well-
would that give you enough time to further speak with him, Mr. Arrington, to see if there's something that you and Ms. Falk could work out to resolve this case?
Maybe Judge, I have a feeling based on the court records that, the first appearance court orders, they noted that Mr. Gervin's homeless. Since he's been in the jail, he's been referred to and done assessment with PAD, the Policing Alternatives Initiative in Atlanta. He's eligible for their services. We've been reaching out to them to get with his case manager, and they've confirmed that they've already gotten set up with him, and they can provide transitional housing and referrals for him when he gets out. In addition to that, I anticipate that I'll be working closely with my office. So that's with the attorneys in my office, also social workers in our office, Judge.
One question before we continue any further. Ms. Falk,
Sure.
the original plea that he was supposed to take today was going to be in a no additional time plea?
That is correct, Your Honor. It's 12 months with credit for time served, balance suspended, and stay away from the 13-year-old who is the victim in this case.
And
the
your
state-
client doesn't want to do that, Mr. Arrington? You've spoken to him?
Judge, I spoke with them, and I think just under these circumstances, and I think is a very fair concern of confusion. And it's somewhat difficult to explain the entire process and how we've gotten here in such short notice. We
I
knew that
understand
by,
that.
right. So I mean, today he's not really comfortable with taking that plea, and I don't want to force him or convince him.
Right, now I don't want him to take a plea if he doesn't want to
And-
take one either.
And what I would like the court to know is that in the meantime, while I think regardless of what happens, I know part of the state's offer was that he see a social worker. We're going above and beyond that, Judge. He'll have access to a social worker through my office, but also we work really closely with PAD, and they will be able to set him up with transitional housing. And not,
Okay.
not to, say anything against my client's interests, but I do notice on the jailing records, there's potentially an FTA from a City of Atlanta case. So it's not even quite guaranteed that he'd be going to the street if he takes the plea or if he gets a signature bond today.
Okay.
So,
Your Honor, the state would request any ask for a bond. My understanding, this was a plea hearing or,
Well,
and
I
it was not a
understand
first
that.
appearance.
I understand that, Ms. Falk. We don't have to get into that point. I'm not going to give him a signature bond today. So even if, we were going to modify it, and I doubt that he'd be able to make that $50,000 bond.
no,
So what I'm suggesting is that we reset him to either Tuesday or Thursday, so there can be further discussions with the state about the nature of how this case should move forward, and to address, any concerns about maybe releasing him to his holds or releasing him to the social service that we discussed at the PAD. But I don't feel comfortable to do that today at this is a first appearance calendar. State all purpose is a much more appropriate place to discuss issues such as this. So I really don't see any option other than to reset him to either Tuesday, but Ms. Champion seems to have indicated that's not an option.
and Judge, I understand that this is a novel situation. My understanding was that this was strictly a first appearance. I wasn't sure there was going to be a plea offer until we got here. But frankly, Judge, I mean, it's been 9 months. The state made an offer for time served, and I appreciate that. And I don't want to act like I'm biting the hand. But if the state's comfortable with him being released, the state's comfortable with him being released. So
I understand that,
I
but
don't
I'm not.
quite-
I understand that, but I'm not going to do that today. So we'll go with it. You blame me and not the state. I'm not going to give him a signature bond today. It seems like there's some confusion and some additional work that needs to be done by both sides. My preference would be for him to go to Tuesday state all purpose, because I do understand that he's been there. Ms. Champion, is there any chance he can go to Tuesday?
And Your Honor, if I may, the state would prefer Tuesday as well. I have to accompany my mother to a doctor's appointment on Thursday. So if it's possible to do this on Tuesday, I would prefer to
I
do
would
so.
prefer, if there was a way he could be seen on Monday. This is not the appropriate calendar, forum, or place. And I do wish to assist him, and I don't want him sitting in jail unnecessarily, Ms. Arrington. I'm not heartless, but at the same time, there are controls and procedures that I have to follow. Ms.
Okay.
Champion, is there anything I can do about Tuesday?
Well, Judge, Tuesday calendar already has 45 defendants on it. So
I can be pretty quick on Tuesday. Hopefully.
And if you're able to reach some consent with Ms. Falk prior to then, perhaps it, okay, it sounds like Tuesday is not an option. It sounds like he'll have to be reset to, if he can't fit there, he can't fit. They can't make it happen. They can't.
And I will rearrange my schedule and make myself available on Thursday, Your Honor.
Okay. Unfortunately, we will have to reset Mr. Griffin's case to the Thursday state all purpose calendar at this time, but that doesn't mean that you can't speak with Ms. Falk in the interim. And because I have at least heard some aspects of this, if you're able to reach some consent, I'm willing to review orders, even if to the extent that I can. If you're able to reach some type of consent, even bond order, I'm willing to review that outside of the time. So I'm hoping that you two can reach that. All right?
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
that's this coming Thursday, the 6th. And what time is that calendar, Judge?
That calendar's at 9 a.m.
And has Mr. Arrington's office entered an appearance on this? Because my understanding was the public defender's office was on this, which is why I did not give the offer to Mr. Arrington. I only became aware of his involvement about 20 minutes before court.
Yeah. No, I've not been able to finalize an entry. I'll make sure we have that before the 6th.
Definitely is your need to be entered in an appearance to represent him on any kind of matter on this case.
All right. So I think we know what direction we're going. Mr. Gervin, please stay in contact with Mr. Arrington and Ms. Kim, and hopefully you'll all be able to reach something sooner rather than later. Again, I am willing to review whatever consent bonds you may come up with at a different time.
And Judge, is that virtual court on the 6th?
It is.
Okay.
It is. You can log in. I'm not sure who would give you the link. Mr. Jordan is normally who I ask. Ms.
That's fine.
Grace, since you're hosting the Zoom, or Ms. Champion, will you see that Mr. Arrington receives the link for state all purpose? I appreciate it. All right.
Provide us with his email address so we can send it to him.
Ms. Arrington, please put your email address into the chat so that you can, and once you enter the appearance, you'll receive all information as well. But I fear that you would not receive Thursdays in time,
Sure.
which is why I've asked them to send you that. All right, courtroom 2 can be excused. Thank you all. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
You
Judge.
do the same.
All right, bye-bye. Ms. Champion, will you review? Oh, Mr. Arrington, if that concludes your business, you're free to go.
All right,
In the
Judge. Thank you,
meantime,
Judge.
Ms. Champion, will you please review the entire calendar for me?
Yes, ma'am. Position number 1 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position number 2 is a $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail reset for the notice. Position number 3 is a $1,500 good bond reset SAP 413. Position number 4 is a $4,000 pretrial bond per judge reset for the notice. Position number 5 is a total of a $2,500 good bond reset SAP 413. Position number 6 was a plea, and the add-on one is going to be reset to the SAP 46 for a possible plea. Any questions?
All right,
No,
hearing none, we'll be in recess. Everyone take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Great rest of your weekend. And Ms. Falk, I do appreciate your willingness to try to take care of that case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Everyone take care.